Hi there, I'm Noah Bradley and this is Handmade House TV. On this week's episode, we're going to talk about rafters, about getting a roof on top of our home, our shed, whatever it is we're building. Rafters are the pieces we need to create. So stay tuned. If you've been following along here on Handmade House TV, you know that we got the logs up for my little log shed, and it's time to get a roof on top of it. Our goal is to get a roof over top of our heads, and the next step would be to create and install the rafters. The rafters are those structural elements that hold our roof in place. Today in the construction industry, the world of rafters has almost been taken over entirely by roof trusses. And I've never been a fan of roof trusses. In fact, before I started creating this video, I thought for a while whether or not I've ever actually installed roof trusses. And I do remember doing roof trusses long before I started my own company. So you're probably talking about 35 years ago, and I was working for a construction company where roof trusses were brought in. But I don't believe I've ever once used roof trusses since then, and it's likely because of my exposure to them then. The advantage, roof trusses are, you've probably seen them many times. They are basically pre-assembled roofs. They're like the letter A, and that when it comes to put a roof on, most contractors will order roof trusses pre-assembled. A boom truck comes in, carpenters stand on each of the opposing walls, and these trusses are boomed into place one at a time, and the carpenters just basically are nailing them to the top plates of the walls of the home. And it's not uncommon by the end of the day that you can have a roof over top of your house. It greatly speeds the process of putting a roof up. But I like to use real rafters. I like to hand cut them myself, just like they have been done for centuries, if not millennia. It's, in my opinion, you're getting a much higher quality roof. If I'm going to invest my time into building a structure that I'm going to own or live in, I want to use the best possible material I can, and I want to go with the best possible way. And for me, that is building rafters. And if you are building your own home with the idea of not only building it of the highest quality, but also of the maximum cost savings, rafters hand cut by you are cheaper than what trusses would be, and plus you don't have to put out the expense of bringing in a boom truck. A roof can be built by one individual, just taking careful steps, one thing at a time. Nick came in and gave me a hand on putting these rafters up. We had a great time doing that. It was much easier with the two of us. Once you get your rafters all up, you'll want to make sure and square them. You want to pull corner angles from one corner of the roof to the other. Make sure she's a square roof if at all possible. If you're trying to do a little bit of creativity, a little bit of aging effect, and you're building a shed, it's not as important to get things exactly square. I always like to leave a little bit of play, a little bit of pre-aging going into the construction of handmade pieces, outbuildings in particular. I can summarize everything I've shared today, and I apologize if I've been a little bit too wordy, but I really wanted to get it out, the importance of it, and that is that it comes back to the idea of building a little shed before you build your house. If you've never built your own house, if you've never been involved in construction from the start to finish, and you're undecided whether or not you want to go with the pre-assembled roof truss or you really want to go with the rafters, the one thing about actually going through the process of building your own shed, of doing these little custom rafters, is that you really gain the appreciation, first of all, for the structure and the beauty of a real roof, of using real lumber to build your roof, much as has been done for a long time. You gain a whole lot more respect for it. And also you get past the fear of laying out a rafter system, of actually how it goes together. That many are so fearful of putting together a roof on their own home. And nothing will cure that as much as the idea of building a little mini version of it. of seeing how it comes together. And it's just a matter of creating a few pieces and spending the time to think it carefully through, and then to put these little pieces up one at a time. And then you're going to be so pleased, you're going to be so proud. I really hope you go to the trouble of building a little shed for yourself before you get involved in that house. It's going to be a tremendous boost, confidence builder for you as you move forward. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me here on Handmade House TV today, where we talk about rafters. On next week's episode, we're going to talk all about sheathing, about the layer that goes on top of our rafters in order to give us the highest quality roof. Before we go, I would like to thank 5 new members of the Handmade House Guild. And they are Ryan Neal, Brent Harden, Benjamin Benjamin Otten, Auton, and Carol Warner. Carol Warner. She's one of my favorite members of the Handmade House Guild. She's a precious lady, and one that keeps me walking the line and getting things right. So hi, Carol. Thank you so much for being a member of the Guild. And one more, David Rivers. Wow, another great name. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining the Handmade House Guild. You're invited to join us in it as well. It's a tremendous community. We have our own forum where I provide individual answers to any questions that come up on the forum, where the community can share with each other our accomplishment. We're about 300 and some strong now, but the doors are closing to the Handmade House Guild. It was never created to be a permanent offering to the world. It was an opportunity to become a founding member of what I'm trying to put together, which is a group of fine people who are interested in building their own handcrafted home. And as an incentive, I've always offered everything I have produced and everything I ever will to Handmade House Guild members. And that's simply not a business model that is sustainable. So that's going to end. I will still create courses. I'll still have here on Handmade House TV. There just won't be an all-in-one package of everything that is or ever will be created offered again. So your opportunity to join the Handmade House Guild is coming to an end. You're invited to join us before the doors close. I hope you do. We appreciate having you in there. Anyway, you guys take care. We'll see you next week here on Handmade House TV, where we're going to put the sheathing on this tiny cabin. Perhaps the greatest insight that I can offer you with regard to rafters is to make sure and don't forget your collar ties, the horizontal pieces that go that connect the rafters on one side of the home to the other side. You always want to end up with a triangle or a letter A when you're putting your rafters up. Without the most important collar tie, then your roof is going to have a tendency to slowly collapse with time, that the peak will pull down, but the collar ties hold everything together.